Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, welcome back to a brand new video here today, and welcome to a bit of a different style of doing these kind of videos. We're back again with some F1 2019 game ideas, but today we're doing a bit of a reaction to your ideas. So I'm usually listing out a load of ideas that I've cobbled together from my own kind of mind and also your comments, but this time I thought, you know what, let's react to some of the comments and kind of have a bit of a discussion over the actual comments. And so in that way, if you actually get to be in the video via your comments, can be quite cool to kind of have that reaction, I guess, and that kind of almost two-way conversation as close as it can be without me doing like a live call or whatever like that. So today we're going to be reacting to your guys' F1 2019 game ideas off the comment section of my video I did about 8 things that need to be in F1 2019 career mode. Now, from the comments, I've not read all of them, but it seems like some of them are just reactions to some of the ideas, some of them with your own ideas. I don't know necessarily if these are ideas that you guys think need to be in the game. I think it's more just kind of you just wanted to blurt in your ideas that you wanted, but that's what the video, that's where the comments are coming for basically. So let's get into this. We're going to react to all the different ideas and try and discuss them, you know, play a bit of devil's advocate maybe, and if I do disagree with one of your ideas, don't take it to heart. We're just, you know, having a little bit of fun here discussing it, and I mean, to be fair, I mean, most of them I think will probably be pretty sick ideas. So let's get into it. So the first comment, I don't necessarily know if it's the kind of top comment, but classic tracks, nothing more. Danny Yu says classic tracks, obviously we had them back in 2013. We've not had them ever since. There were some pretty nice ones. Jerez was a personal favorite of mine because it's a testing circuit as well, so it really helped, you know, from a creator standpoint to kind of make a kind of storyline out of pre-season. It was always really cool to use Jerez, but it was also a really fun track because it was so narrow, especially online. It was just absolute chaos. I think we even did like some YouTubers sprint mode championship back in the day on Jerez, and it was just absolutely crazy. So yeah, Jerez tracks like that were pretty cool. I mean, classic tracks that weren't in the game would be also sweet because we only had a few. Brands Hatch, I'm trying to think off the top of my head because 2013 is now quite a long time ago. They had Brands Hatch. What else do they have? They had Imola. Imola was pretty sick. Obviously, that's an all-time classic for Formula 1, so it would be pretty cool. But obviously, that takes licensing as well. But they did spend the time to get the classic cars license, so I'm kind of almost perplexed why they didn't actually have classic tracks, you know. So maybe that's something that might come in for 2019 because I feel like maybe they want to build on what they did in 2018 with the classic cars, like the selection they had. So they might want to add on to that with now classic tracks where you can drive the classic cars on. So it kind of makes it kind of goes hand in hand with like marketing purposes, but we've got replies here. Don't need to be too classic, but tracks like Old Hockenheim or Old Silverstone, that'd be pretty cool. Old Silverstone would be pretty sweet because I never actually drove Old Silverstone on the modern F1 games, or like the basically F1 games in general, because I didn't get into F1 games until F1 2010. I had to obviously go back and I went back and played like 06, and then I got to play it. But it'd be pretty cool to have a modern redone retake of Old Silverstone. But I guess maybe that's just maybe a low priority thing. But Old Hockenheim as well. Although for me personally, yeah, I mean, Old Hockenheim was pretty much just a long-ass straight, wasn't it? So I don't know about that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Adrian makes a good point. They put it in 2013 and then never again. Obviously, 2014 wasn't an amazing F1 game. I think they'll admit as well. So they took a bit of a step back on that. But that definitely be cool. I don't know if it's something that F1 needs in next year's game. I think there's higher priority stuff for me personally, but I guess a lot of people would like that as a feature. We've got the next one. Subscribe to PewDiePie. How just like fitting. I mean, that's just everywhere. Yeah, all hail King PewDiePie. Starting from the pit lane though is the idea. I hearted this actually. 257. I don't actually know why this comment wasn't right at the top because it's got more likes than the other one. But start from the pit lane. We've mentioned that before. Actually, just be cool to break Parc Fermé because right now you have Parc Fermé on in career mode and then you can't break it. It'd be cool like in real life you can just, you know, break it and then just kind of face the consequences of starting from the pit lane. Let's say you have a bad qualifying. You qualify in P18, you break Parc Fermé, you start from the pit lane, but you set up your car for lower wings, lower drag, and you try and go for those overtakes in the race. That would be pretty damn sweet. Definitely would have helped me a few times in my career mode just gone by. You know, I got knocked out in Q1 or got disqualified in the Sauber. That would have been pretty cool to take it out of Parc Fermé and do it. But, you know, basically do a bit of a Sebastian Vettel at Abu Dhabi. Like, how epic was that when Vettel made that comeback in Abu Dhabi in 2012 and he started from the pit lane and got a podium in the end? That was a, you know, iconic moment in modern Formula 1 history. It'd be really cool to be able to do that in career mode and even, you know, a league race. How crazy would that be? If you had a bad qualifying in a league race, if you're able to do a 0-0 sort of thing in an online scenario, that'd be pretty mad. Got Gordon Ramsay. I'm sure that's the actual Gordon Ramsay. We need player sponsor choices also to dress up your helmet. Like Max has Jumbo and Exact, and Bottas has Vihuri and etc. Implement it with reputation, etc. Obviously, we've mentioned having sponsors or just basically being able to design your helmets, but we talked about having generic sponsors. I think that's the only way Codemasters could ever do it, because they wouldn't be able to get the licensing for exact real-life sponsors. But fake sponsors, like if FIFA doesn't even do this anymore, but FIFA did back in the day, like, what was it, FIFA 04, 05, 06, they used to do like fake sponsorships you could sign for extra money. So you could basically maybe get, like he says, implement it with reputation level, you get higher fake sponsors. That'd be pretty sweet. I think that would be a cool idea, because right now the helmets do look quite barren, especially if you're on console. Obviously you can't mod your helmet, so that would be very, very cool. Driving the pit lane, again, kind of almost just opening up the pit lane, but that's more of a manually driving the pit lane. I think we've said that before a few times as well, in terms of having a manual pit box, or just having control of that. There's obviously a caveat to online that could get abused and be quite bad, because knowing, unfortunately, if any Cody employees are watching this, I'm sorry to say, probably it'd be quite glitchy, and so you would probably have people getting bad penalties for no reason for manually driving the pit lane. But it would be kind of cool, because that's kind of it's always been automatic, but there's been so many racing games now that are out nowadays that have manual pit lanes. So I think that's just something that they have to eventually kind of get through and do. Team orders, I've been a big advocate for that, because, it happens in real life. Why doesn't it happen in the game, basically? How cool would it be if you're the number one driver to say, right, my teammate, just pit in now. I'm going to pit in later, so I advise you to pit in now, and your teammate can take the advice or leave it. But, rather than right now, the AI just pit on a set lap, and so your teammate can sometimes pretty much get screwed over, because you're going to pit a lap later, which happens to be the lap he wanted to pit. I'm gonna skip through these, because this is all one comment from one dude. But pre-season testing, we've mentioned that before. Be able to save races and qualify and see qualifying laps. That's pretty cool. I would love to save races as a content creator. I would love to save a replay from a race and be able to go back and do it. Let's say if I record a race and then I have to go somewhere, like I've had times before where I've been really pressed for time, so I've had to kind of rush through recording replay cameras. It'd be really cool to record a race, and then let's say I'm trying to picture what other scenarios there'd be, but for me personally, it'd be recording a race, and then I have to go out. I'm taking a train up north to go out with my mates, and then I come back the next day and I've still got this saveable replay cameras, and I can kind of watch them back and stuff like that. That'd be really cool. Scenarios like, I don't know, if you had like, I don't know, sports or whatever in the afternoon, but you came back home like earlier from school, you do a race, you want to watch it back or something like that, or you just want to save the race, you kind of finish it kind of halfway through. That's a mid-session save, but obviously kind of save it as like a entity you can watch back. Because actually when you do a mid-session save, the replay then only happens for, I don't know if it's still a thing, but the last time I ever used a mid-session save was like 2013, I think. And back then, the replay camera used to only go from when you saved it. I don't know if that's still a thing, but it didn't really ever make sense. But yeah, definitely saving qualifying laps would be really cool as well. News feeds are kind of like a la kind of FIFA, having news feeds about qualifying laps, upgrade news, other drivers' answers in interview. To be fair, that's a cool answer. That's a pretty cool answer. Other drivers answering in interviews, what they answer, that would be pretty sweet. And then previous seasons, I think there's another comment like that before about previous seasons, but that would be cool. I don't think they'd ever do that though, because I don't know, just licensing, I guess, for like it's the F1 2019 game. Why does that have previous years? Martin Brundle as a commentator. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they could probably afford Martin Brundle, probably. I think they already spend enough on Crofty and Davidson, and, Cody's on a huge company, so I'm just going to take a guess Brundle would be too costly. Also, I don't know if Brundle will want to do it. I think Brundle strikes me as this type of guy, and he's a nice fella, it seems like, but I've heard kind of, here and there that he can be a little bit less kind, like when he doesn't need to exactly do stuff. So maybe Brundle just doesn't want to do that kind of thing. Open world paddock, like I said, I actually mentioned that in Dream Ideas. That'll probably never happen. And VR support, that would be sick. VR support, it's VR. It's sick. I've tried it on Assetto Corsa, and it's absolutely awesome. Right, we got Moomin. More AI mistakes. AI need to spin more or go wide. They do make a few mistakes now and then, but yeah, I think a few more mistakes would be kind of cool. Spinning like Vettel would be pretty cool. Going wide, they do that a few times, but maybe a little bit more often. I think, again, like the reliability, there maybe needs to be a switch of like how many AI mistakes you want, but at the same time, I kind of play devil's advocate. I think there almost needs to be less AI mistakes because they're so unreliable right now. So I would only say add in more mistakes for AI if they make that more unreliable, more reliable or unreliability factor for the player come in. Because otherwise, I'm just going to, as a player, you're going to luck out into basically getting 3 points if they keep on crashing and spinning in races. So the player needs to have more unreliability, basically, for that to happen. But definitely including first lap crashes, Edward Smith says, that's definitely a thing. I think there's not enough first lap incidents with AI. How many times do we see it? I mean, maybe like, I don't know, at least 3 times in a season, there's going to be some kind of kerfuffle on the opening lap. And right now, in career mode, I mean, I'm trying to think back. I think I've had like 1 per season, and most of the time it's because of me. Like, I've been the one that's spanned because of an AI hitting me, but there needs to be more AI on AI, kind of just something happens to them. I think that would be very, very good. So, yeah, good ideas there. Random engine failures from Max with 2 X's. Like I said, like I literally just said, there needs to be more random engine failures for the player. Have that switch setting where basically you can say, I want the uber realistic career mode where I could be on like the second last lap of 100% race and my engine could fail. And that's the kind of, you know, that's the box, that's the contract I'm signing by switching this button on the setting to say that could be a thing. And then if you don't want it, if you're a bit more of a casual F1 fan, you're going to get annoyed, you know yourself, you're going to get annoyed by that, then just switch it off and you can play it without the reliability issues for you. But they're that's like one of my number 1 things for next year. That has to be a thing. Like that, like, almost like I don't really care about much else in a way. Like, that would literally almost take 2018 to a new level just with that addition to the game, to be honest. Right, we got, oh my god, what is this name? Twisted Shooter, I'm guessing, games. Idea for customization helmets, where sponsors and teams you're with are added. So we talked about the fake sponsors, but just simply putting the actual team sponsors on. Like, if I drive for Mercedes, just, you know, give me the generic Mercedes sponsors on the helmet. That is not difficult. I mean, I've seen the files for the helmet. It's really not that intricate to maybe put in some coding about, okay, you're on this team. Because they do that for gloves. Like, you get given the team gloves and the team boots. Why not just give us team sponsors? Like, make each sponsors of the team a separate texture file, and then you have the design of the helmet, and then basically the game just goes and just does a bit of matching, because that's what they do for the gloves. They go career Mercedes for the gloves. Just have a career Mercedes sponsors file basically in the textures. That would not be that difficult, I think. This isn't about the about the game, but Warlord 117 said 8 reasons why the title has to be in all caps. Look, man, if you don't know why titles are in caps by now on YouTube, you've clearly not watched enough YouTube over the last like 8, 9, 10 years, basically. Formula 2 and Formula 3, please, Codemasters, by William Woodhouse. Obviously, I said that in my dream video that I did, like the 6 dream ideas. It would be pretty damn awesome to have, you know, progression from F3 to F2 to F1. I don't think it will ever happen, to be honest. I could see maybe them doing like pre-season testing, like a young driver's test sort of thing, maybe. But I just really don't think they'll do that whole journey to F1 thing from F3 to F2. Not for a long while, at least. It'll have to be like, you know, we're talking 6, 7 years probably till they do that, because I just don't think it's a priority for them, especially with the F1 esports as well. They have to also think about that as well in the coming years as well. So I just don't think that's a priority for them. Tygo goes, Max Verstappen even more aggressive. That's a death wish you just made. That was because in the video I said AI need to be more aggressive. They need to get more aggressive depending on what you've had in previous races, what you've answered in interviews. So obviously that could construe as having Verstappen even more aggressive. You know what? I would get pissed off at it at the time, but you can't argue. It would be realistic. So, you know, I would get annoyed at it. I definitely would be complaining in my own career mode video about Verstappen's. I have done that before, because he has swiped me across at China before in a career mode episode. But I mean, that's the whole point. Like, it might seem that's like when me or any creator makes a video of a career mode and we do complain in the video about what an AI has done, and it's actually kind of maybe a more realistic thing the AI are doing. You know, in the moment, you're annoyed because you're going to be annoyed. Like, you're a human, you're going to react like that. Obviously, you kind of need to just take a step back and kind of think, right, that's a that's a normal reaction. It's not really us getting annoyed at the game. It's just kind of the reaction you would have, because in real life you'd get annoyed like that as well. If you're racing for real, you got squeezed out. So it's a good thing in a way. You know, it's good if you have those ups and downs of emotions in career. I don't want to be constantly happy about my results in career mode. There needs to be some downers and some annoying times, just like there needs to be kind of, you know, boring races to make the good ones even better. We got Wes, working safety car, a safety car that doesn't kill 12 people. To be fair, I've not had this too much. I think I've had maybe like 2 cases over 7 seasons where a safety car has taken someone out, but I've had a pretty stable working safety car. He might mean online, Wes, but offline, the safety car works pretty damn well. Georgios Contogia, if I pronounce your names wrong, I'm so sorry. If you know me well from previous videos, you know I'm horrendous at names. I'm great at people's faces, I'm horrendous at names. But more realistic DNS for cars, I mean not just disappearing, but move out the track with a crane. That would be cool. Obviously, that is definitely going to be a low priority thing. That's like a visual aesthetic thing that doesn't actually affect the racing too much, so that is definitely a low priority thing. And I'm just thinking about the animation that would need. Like they'd have to do that all extra animation of doing a crane, picking up a car and pulling it across. It probably just is not going to be a thing that happens in the next couple of years. But it's a nice idea. Obviously, it would add to the realism in terms of DNFs. Next one's going to be Bob. That's an interesting name. Double barrel Bob. Okay, may not be possible, but a more realistic crash and damages. Unfortunately not, because of the licensing. A lot of sponsors and the teams just don't want to see their cars absolutely destroyed in the game. So for now, I would say the damage model is pretty much going to stay constant for the foreseeable future, unless something drastically changes with Liberty Media and the way they persuade the teams to kind of allow it. But pretty much, I can't really see it, honestly, to be honest, unfortunately. Patrick Lange, they should make the car more, well, literally the same thing. Side pods, braking, stuff like that. I just don't think it's possible, unfortunately. At least that's the party line Codemasters have told us for the last couple of years, basically. The teams and the FOM just don't like it, basically. Sem with the same thing, add an F2 game mode to build up to F1. Jack says, yeah, we already kind of covered that as well. In terms of, I don't think it's going to be really a game mode, but it might be kind of an intro thing maybe in the future. Tamin Cause says split screen. Now, I've seen that a lot. I mean, I see that every time we do ideas, and it's always kind of there where 31 people kind of liking it. The thing is, I've literally been told by Codys that just not enough people played it. There was literally a percentile, maybe less than 5% of people played split screen in the old F1 game. So it really just is not worth it, because split screen actually takes way more resources than you think, because they have to render 2 different screens, 2 different points, 2 different heads-up displays, 2 sets of everything, but at the same time on the same console. It's just too much waste of resources, basically, and especially in the console. For the console, it's just way too much. On a PC, obviously, it's fine, but on a console, they have finite amount of resources, and not enough people played split screen. I mean, I haven't played a split screen game in absolute years, maybe even 10 years. Everything's online now. If you want to play with your friends, you just play it online, basically, connecting onto an online server or whatever, or P2P. Robbie13 says, feel like making F1 drivers retire and bringing in other drivers would be a good idea to make it more realistic. I mentioned about, obviously the dream idea would be driver transfers. I don't know if transfers will ever really happen in the next 2 years or so. I talked about having drivers kind of go down in AI level when they get older. So this is almost like the same lines of retiring and bringing other drivers in. If they were to bring in some sort of F2 kind of counterpart to the game, then they could kind of do that, but they would have to definitely license it of this, let's say Jack Aitken has to drive for Renault when the Renault driver retires, basically, so it'd have to kind of be like that. So it'd be very logistically difficult to make, and so that's one of the things where I'll cobble that together as driver transfers. It's just a kind of a pipeline dream that we probably won't see in the next 3 years minimum, maybe. I mean, we're basically waiting for that kind of thunderbolt moment where Liberty Media just go, yeah, you can do it. You can do everything, basically. Matthew Fletcher says Monaco and Singapore need to have more front tire overheating after a couple of laps, regardless of how smooth you drive. Issue sorted in 2019. That is a thing. Yeah, I will accept that. Actually, they need to tweak the tire carcass temperature. But at Monaco and Singapore, the tire wear it is still very, very bad. and it is very difficult to manage. So, yeah, I agree. They definitely just need to look at the tire carcass temperature, because there were a lot of glitches. I know Tom, my mate, Tom97HD, obviously, if some of you guys watch him, he had an issue where he basically had to just turn it off because it was just undrivable for him because it got glitched in his career mode. So they definitely need to iron that out and look into that. And then the final kind of comments, Jamie Lowe, I think pit stop failures would be good, and do a practice running to decrease the chances of that, and then pre-season testing. Yes, to pre-season testing, I would love that as a little thing. Pit stop failures, we mentioned that before, I think, in one video, I want to say, at some point. If not, then good idea. Pit stop failures, obviously, we had that in 2010, actually. If you missed the pit box, you could kind of hit your pit crew guy, and you'd have to kind of be pushed back. So, yeah, that's definitely a good idea. And do practice modes that to play in to give you something else to do in practice. That's already really good as well. And then Kimi F1 7954. Team R&D is a great idea. I mean, both of you are meant to be working. So that he's just agreeing with my idea of teammates doing a bit of R&D as well, working together in unison. I think a few people got confused about that. I wasn't talking about that you get that you are meant to get half the R&D points and your teammate gets the other half of your R&D points. I'm just talking like if you get 300 R&D points in a race, your teammate should also get 300, and then you both spend on the same R&D tree. But to make it balanced, because if you did that, you would have to double up how much every upgrade costs, because otherwise then the R&D would get done really, really quickly. So you could either double the upgrade cost, or you just half everything. So I get 150, he gets 150. It's not halving my own R&D. It's still giving him the same R&D, the same resource points I got. But basically, you have to scale it. You have to logically scale it. Otherwise, you're just going to get a too biased R&D system for the player and your teammate, basically. And then Henry says, I really hope Codemasters are listening to their fans. I hope F1 2019 game has everything I want it to have. Obviously, yes, I'm like that as well. I hope, they've got 3 community managers at Codemasters. 2 of them are kind of technically could oversee F1. There's one dedicated community manager for F1, which is Jenny. And then there's a second one, which is the kind of lead and the head of community at Codemasters, which is Christina. She overlooks everything Codemasters does. So F1, Dirt, I'm trying to think of what else they do. Grid. They do F1 mobile racing. She looks after everything. So technically, they're kind of 2 people that should be on the lookout for kind of, what the community is saying. So I have a hope that, at some point the community managers do eventually get around to watching these kind of videos, because they have said in the past they keep track of what videos we all make. Like they kind of see it in their sub boxes, because they're like Codemasters accounts are subscribed to us to kind of see what we're doing. But I don't know if they actually physically watch every single video through. But you kind of hope of like maybe they watch. If I make like 10 of these idea videos, the hope is that I'm just shooting so many bullets that eventually one of them sticks. Like they watch one of these videos and they get clued in of what people want, or what I want, or what I think me and my community want. So yeah, good point, Henry. Obviously, I always have that kind of, hope and want. But that has been it then. That has been my reaction to your guys' ideas for F1 2019 off the video I did of 8 things that need to be in F1 2019 crew mode. If you didn't see that video, by the way, be sure to go see that one, because, well, those 8 things that I think need to be in next year's game. So, very important stuff that you might want to check out. And, yeah, let me know in the comments below. Actually, I really enjoyed this kind of, kind of almost having a half conversation with you guys off your comments. So, let me know in the comments below if you want me to do more of these in the future, reacting to stuff you guys have said in the comments like that. If you're on your own, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. If you did enjoy the video, then do be sure to smash the like button. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.